Watching eNCA, bombings continue in northern Syria. Now, the front line is just 20 kilometers as well from the Gift of the Givers hospital in Darkoush. The South African team of 43 medics is hard at work as casualties continue to stream in. But with limited resources, doctors are being forced to adapt to their environment. We now cross live to our reporter Yusuf Omar, who's with the South African team of volunteers and medics in Darkoush in northern Syria. Just please be aware, all our viewers, that the line might not be that clear, but we are trying to get the very latest from what's happening in Syria. Yusuf Omar, I see that things are getting more and more hectic as you're about 20 kilometers away from the front line as the violence escalates and continues in Syria.
That's right. Just seconds ago, we saw a child, basically a car came screaming in here, blood pouring out. There was a child, he's been shot just below the heart. At the moment, we understand it was some sort of an accident, but the medical teams are furiously operating on him at the moment, trying to do everything they can. We've been seeing increased levels of explosions more frequently, louder and louder as the days go by. The fighting is getting closer and closer to Darkoush Hospital, but yet I've just spoken to the Free Syrian Army. I spoke to a general there. He said they will do everything in their power to protect the South Africans. They will literally put their bodies on the line.
Yusuf, you're getting a first-hand account of what's happening in Syria, having a chat to the people, speaking to the people of Syria. What are they saying about this violence and what are they saying about this war?
The situation here in Syria is diabolical. I mean, just aside from medical issues, you have no electricity. If best, they have an hour or two a day. There's no service delivery. Garbage is not collected. But yet people maintain some sense of dignity about them. For example, they're feeding us every day. It's the same food. It's canned tuna and bread. But it's wartime, and they're doing the absolute best they can to accommodate us. And they really, really are looking after the South African team. I mean, we can't walk 10 meters away from the hospital without two armed guards with AK-47s slung around their shoulders just to protect us at all times, to make us feel safe. Having said that, just moments after the South African team first arrives here at Darkoush, a missile came flying overhead, over the hospital and into the mountains here behind me. Obviously, the team were very shaken up, but yet they are continuing with their work. They've been reassured that, as a general rule, missiles don't fall here. We're protected by this valley. We've got mountains all around us. And also, you have to remember, this area has been liberated since November. The Free Syrian Army are in control. But it's the same issue they're facing everywhere in the country. They've taken large parts of Syria, but their ability to hold those areas is in question. They obviously got planes flying overhead. They are constantly getting airstrikes. And we're really seeing some of those patients coming in. We get them coming in, we'll hear the explosion, and then minutes later, or sometimes hours later, waves and waves of casualties coming in, mostly shrapnel, and it has to be said, mostly women and children are affected.
Yusuf, you're saying lots of people are streaming into the hospital. Do the 43 medics and the South African sort of triage center that they've been able to create there, does it have capacity? How many patients are coming in on a daily basis?
It is filled to the brim. You cannot walk through the waiting room. And having done that, they're now having to create a second clinic down there. They're building satellite clinics all around this region where they're sending 2 or 3 doctors out. I'm just getting word, an update on the child that has been shot. It's coming through now. I believe he's died. Yes, we can confirm that the child that came in a couple of minutes ago has now died. The South African team, I saw them working on him. There was a lot of blood, but he appears to have lost us. And his parents are now downstairs. They seem to be marching up and down. So it's really, but the South African team are doing the best that they can under the circumstances. You have to realize that they don't have the same luxuries that you'd have at a first world hospital. We're having to improvise here a lot, do methods that are not normally done, sometimes operating on more than one person at a time.
Yusuf, the situation seems to be getting worse and worse every day. And you say that security, that you've been told by this Syrian rebel army that they're going to do everything in their power to try and protect you, to lay their lives. Or is there constant fear for your lives? Is there security being given to you guys everywhere you go at every single point in time? And what are they saying to try and protect that area that you guys find yourself in?
Sure. As you said, the front line is now just about 20 kilometers from here, and we're really being kept in areas which they do believe are safe. In terms of security, there isn't much they can do from missiles, from air raids. What they can do is protect us in person. They are worried that people will get kidnapped, and that's why they don't let us walk around alone. But really, for myself and Joe, for the first couple of days, the explosions were daunting. We were ducking and diving around. Now we don't even bother anymore. I mean, if it's a mortar strike, if you hear the noise, it's hit you. There's nothing you can do about it. So you can't really take cover. Fortunately, the situation, place we're in today, there isn't a lot of sniper fire, but we're seeing a lot of people coming in who have been shot by snipers. The rebels are another breed. It's hard for me to explain. They'll be shot. I saw a guy yesterday, he was shot in the arm. They took the bullet out, patched him up. He put his AK-47 around his shoulder and he was back off again to fight.
When you look at the hospital itself, you say that the amenities that we used to, or those that we have here in South Africa, things like electricity, like water, are these available at the hospital? Is this at least getting through to the hospital? And are they able to give the little help that they can to those that are coming in with these sort of injuries?
Absolutely. The hospital is not just about medical staff. If it was just medical staff here, this place wouldn't function. We brought a team of South African paramedics, and they're actually, more than being paramedics, they're functioning as a logistical team. We're seeing them putting up the telephone lines, the wireless infrastructure, helping to dig these boreholes. They're really doing the parts that are necessary to keep this building alive and functioning. And as I said, we are now expanding. It's too full. The wards are full. The operating theatres are full. They're having to look outwards. There's now a dental surgery that's been built a little bit further out. But everything, and absolutely everything, has to be brought in here. As you said, electrical generators, which are not the most reliable of things. Sometimes mid-surgery, the electricity will go, and it's a frantic move to resolve that issue. And that's where the logistical team come in. They have to bring fuel in. And of course, it's very difficult to bring anything into this region. As you know, we didn't come through formal channels to get into Syria. I can't explain the details of how we got here, but we did. And it's those same channels that have to bring equipment, and it's very difficult. You can't bring large cargo across. It's really stuff that you can pack in a backpack and carry across the border.
Well, Yusuf, we'll be trying to get a hold of you again. Thank you very much for the wonderful work that you're doing there. Keep safe there, and also give a word of encouragement to all those 43 medics that have come through from South Africa, risking their lives to try and help those out in Syria. That is our eNCA reporter, Yusuf Omar, out in Syria, giving us a live account of what's happening in that country.